Fight week for all the fighters is an extremely busy week. It's not just showing up and showing up to the fight. There's a lot that goes on between when they arrive and the actual fight. There are numerous production obligations that a fighter has. For example, on Wednesday there is what's called an E&G shoot. When the fans at home tune in and watch the broadcast and they notice there are these opening vignettes, the fighter, the opening package, that's what encompasses the E&G shoot.
The mindset I'm in the week of the fight is just focus, visualizing, and I'm just glad it's here, man. I feel like I've been training all year for this fight. This will be my fourth fight in six and a half months, so I haven't really stopped training. And the last week for me is just more mental preparation, let my body heal and get ready for the fight.
Yeah. On top of that, there's a photo shoot. And to kind of round things out, there is a fighter talent meeting where the fighters really just sit down and chat with the commentating team. So during the broadcast, they have speaking points and are just really caught up and are really up to date with what the fighter's been up to and how he or she has prepared for the fight.
KJ Noons and Nick Diaz, it's an interesting fight just because, the way the first one ended, there was no conclusion to it. Nick Diaz had the cuts, everyone thought he was going to come in and smash KJ Noons. Didn't happen. KJ Noons busted him up on the feet, and ever since they've been trying to make that fight happen, and finally we have it 3 years later.
I think the fighter we saw against KJ Noons in the first fight is not a good representation of what we'll get to see in the rematch. Whether or not Nick Diaz is actually a better technical boxer, I don't think is nearly as important as the fact that whatever boxing he does have will actually be in an able-bodied 170 pounds instead of a sad, depleted frame trying to get down to 160.
The thing that worries me about this fight is Nick Diaz keeps saying, my boxing's better than his, I'm going to go out boxing him. His best advantage in this fight is if he can get it to the ground. But Nick Diaz has a complete lack of interest, it seems, in going to the ground, and I just don't get that. That's where his advantage lays. He wants to stand up and box with him. He's a good boxer. He's going to pile up punches. I don't think he has that big knockout power. I think KJ Noons definitely does. Nick's got a great chin. It could be a great battle on the feet, but if Nick Diaz wants to win this fight in an easier manner, he takes it to the ground.
Most of MMA tends to be about offense. Great offensive fighters are the fighters you tend to see at the top of the sport, and I think KJ Noons is a good reflection of that. If you can come out and throw a proper jab and move your head and counter when a guy throws strikes at you, that offense accounts for a ton. If you look at the George Gurgel fight, people laugh at George Gurgel because he tries to do his best K1 Max impression all the time, but how many guys really treat George Gurgel the way that KJ Noons did? How many guys embarrass him that way and knock him out twice in a fight within seconds? I think that's a good representation of the level of offense that can be present and how it can overcome virtually everything if you're throwing that level of technique with that level of power. I really do expect KJ Noons to look great early. I would be relatively surprised if I ended up scoring the first round for Nick Diaz. I feel like KJ Noons will start fast. I just feel like if he can't find some way to get Diaz out of there, that over the course of a 25-minute fight, the guy with 2 ways to finish his opponent is going to win more often than not, especially if he's as sturdy and as inflexible as Diaz tends to be.
Fighters, there's a bit of a transformation that goes on, and the closer you get to a fight, you notice this transformation, especially during fight week. Normally when the fighters arrive, it's all smiles and hugs, and then they start getting into, then they see their opponent maybe at the press conference or just around the hotel, all these things, start piling up, and they start mentally getting prepared, and then you slowly see this transformation. Next thing you know, at the weigh-in, you've got this really intense, fierce competitor. Yeah, it'll be 2 entirely different people from when we saw him arrive Tuesday to fight night.
I think that Noons is going to surprise Diaz again.
I'm just going to have to go Northern California all the way. Nick Diaz.
I'm saying it's a hatred between those guys going way back in the day, so this is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's KJ all day. I'm not sold on KJ, maybe, but I'm not sold right now. And I think Nick, shows his well-rounded skills and he takes this fight.
Nick Diaz is a good boxer, but he's no KJ Noons.
I don't think KJ can keep up with him. You know, KJ's pretty good timing, hits hard, but Nick's the man, dude. He's a champ. Speaks for itself.
Nick's gonna smash this fool and prove that the first fight was a fluke, period.
You know what's strange? I've been a big Nick Diaz fan for a long time. I love the way he fights. I love what he does, and I love his approach to the game. And I tell you what, I've been a big fan of his for a while. I think Nick is excited about it, and KJ Noons is excited about it, and I'm looking forward to it.